The howling wind. Hello, everybody. We're here. We're so sorry that we're late. We've had some small technical difficulties with our garage/studio space, but here we are, live in the eastern, northeast part of Los Angeles County with the 2002 Motor One Star Awards.
We did it.
We're here.
We're here.
Guys. I'm so happy that all of us are here. We've got Brandon Turkish, Jeff Perez, I'm Seth Mearsma. We've got Kyle Freudenberg on the ones and twos behind the camera, ready to answer any of your questions. You guys, wherever you're seeing this, whether you're watching this on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Facebook, please, as we're talking and having conversations about the Star Wars testing that we did today, we'd love to hear your questions, love to read your comments on air, and basically have a conversation. So. We're really excited to be here. We've been working all year to this. Day one is in the books. And I guess before we get rolling, it's important that I call out the fact that we have this year, for the first year ever, a title sponsor, which is really exciting for us and really exciting. I think it's a great partnership. Star Awards this year are brought to you by the E-Range EV tire. The all-new E-Range EV is a tire specifically engineered for electric vehicles. We have a few electric vehicles out here today, so very relevant for us. Using an advanced manufacturing process called liquid phase mixing, E-Range EV's EcoPoint 3 technology creates a tire with lower rolling resistance, longer range, while offering lower levels of wear and high grip. All this while staying affordable. You guys can check out the E-Range EV tire at E-Range, that's ERANGE tires.com. Check them out today, but only after this stream is done.
Yes.
So with that business taken care of, we have some trucks today, right?
Truck stuff, lots of truck stuff today.
Lots of truck stuff. So we're going to be coming live to you from Star Wars headquarters for the next 4 days. Today we focused on getting our trucks out of the way, and one of the smaller groups that we have awards, but a lot of like diversity in the truck, right?
Yeah, it's the truck category is actually really interesting because it's the only category in the entire competition aside from best EV. Every vehicle is electrified.
Yeah.
So fully electric pickup trucks in a variety of sizes. So we've had 2.5 tons. We had one very, very, very tiny little thing, and one that is the complete opposite of tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So let's go through. What is the laundry list? What are the trucks that we drove today?
Hummer EV is the big one,
the big
right?
boy.
The biggest, most expensive, most powerful one that we've got.
Most powerful car here, period.
Most powerful car, period. We've got Ford Lightning, we've got Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, and we've got Ford Maverick, which is the little baby guy.
Yeah, so it's also just like, I mean, a range of sizes, a range of powertrains. I think the electrified thing is really cool. That's not even something that we set out to do, right? And I think that if we had done this even 3 years ago, we would have a completely different, obviously a different range.
It would have been a mix of diesel and gas, and that may be the odd turbocharged 6-cylinder from Ford, but that'd be about it.
Even last year, I don't think we had an electric truck, right? We didn't have at all.
No, we had F-150 hybrid. We had electrified.
F-150, that was it. Yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of electric trucks coming out, and there's more that we want to test in the coming years, but it's exciting to see that this new powertrain is making its way to the segment.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be so meaningful, I think, to a lot of you guys and to people out there who are like shopping the next couple of years, right? Because you have just a gigantic kind of different list of offerings that you can pick from. Those diesel trucks and the gas-powered trucks are still out there, right?
Yep,
like
and they're not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, they're just going to have to go head-to-head with things like Lightning and even Maverick. Let's talk about Maverick a little bit, right? Because that's so I also set it up that we are not gonna reveal any winners here today. This is just day one of Star Wars. So we're kind of in the process of like getting our notes together, like figuring out who the winners are going to be, and those will all be announced on Motor1.com and InsideEVs.com in about a month, right? Is when we're rolling out
early December.
Early December. So, but we're really happy to sort of talk through, like we spent all day, like I said,
all day
driving these things. Yeah, we've been up very early in the morning, making a lot of media.
Cold and rainy, and we're still soaked.
Drove a lot of trucks.
Dealing with a lot of unexpected kind of consequences. In fact, we weren't even supposed to be shooting from this lovely living room. We thought we were going to have a Maverick behind us, but so it goes. But I thought, like, so I've been in Maverick 2 other times before this. This is definitely the most driving and the only driving I've done on Maverick on good driving roads. And I don't know about you guys, I was really pleasantly surprised. I've kind of like gotten the paper case for it a lot. Like, you know, it's awesome efficiency with a hybrid, like a great kind of useful size for what people do every day, but it actually drives really, really well on good roads too, which did surprise me a lot.
I think for me, it was the best driving of the 4. Just a lot because of its size, because of its platform. It's basically, you know, a crossover with a bed, right? So yeah, on those roads that we have out here that we were testing on, it performed really well. I really liked the way it drove.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to note is that not only is it one of the only 2 hybrids that we have here, it's also the only front-wheel drive vehicle that we have here. And I mean, that I really enjoyed, simply because, you know, it's familiar. It's, you know, you're not dealing with like a transfer case or anything like that. Like, it's just, you drive like you would drive any other small vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to drive. The powertrain integration is really, really solid.
Right.
It's buzzy. It's definitely a buzzy powertrain, but you know, there's not really any awkward handoffs between gas and electric, and it does perform quite well. It's just a very nice vehicle to drive.
It's also like my first impression. Actually, Maverick was the first thing that I drove this morning. Right. It's kind of like going back into it later in the day after driving. You know, again, like we did a bunch of stuff. We're running errands and stuff all day. It is either the most inexpensive vehicle that we have here, or close to the. It's certainly in our category as well, right?
I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I think it's the most affordable vehicle we have here.
So it's incredibly attainable for a huge number of people.
If you can find it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like obviously it's pretty popular too. What I love about it is, again, like I go back to, like, I grew up driving like Ford Rangers and stuff like that, which were, you know, honestly, like they were useful, I guess, but they felt kind of disposable. They felt mostly like they lacked a lot of imagination, especially when you're talking about like the driving environment. Maverick is not like a luxurious. It's not like they've tried to fake luxury. What they've done is, like, inside they've been really innovative with materials and with small touches. Like I find the cubbies and like the door cards and stuff like that they're maximizing the space really well. They're using the materials in a really smart way that makes it feel like you're getting something special, even though it's inexpensive. So I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that kind of an outlook on that interior design.
I mean, I wrote this when I did the review on it. You know, the Maverick is just going to be a case study in how to do a really affordable, cheap interior well. It's such a brilliance of colors and materials and textures. And, you know, I've driven the Lariat, which comes with like this really cool tan with like copper accents. The one that we have is an XLT, so you've got gray and orange and all these different textures. And you get in, and until you start like poking around, like feeling like how everything is hard plastic, you're like, oh wow, this is just, it's a really interesting mix. You think these are going to be all different things, and it doesn't really wear on you the way that a hard black plastic cockpit would.
It's not a work truck, right?
Right.
Like the old Rangers that were kind of similar in size, probably a little bigger, were work trucks, like all hard black plastic, like no fanciness, nothing. But this is like surfaces. This is totally for a different consumer, I think. Like it's a lifestyle truck in the same way that, you know, the Hyundai Santa Cruz is a lifestyle truck, very similar in that respect. So I think it's a really interesting vehicle, and it's kind of been out for a little bit now, right? It's been out for more than a year.
Just over a year.
Over a year. So yeah, it was definitely, I don't know if it was like like, obviously we're not telling you who won, but it was a clear, like, everyone loved getting in that truck and going and driving it.
Maverick is certainly in the conversation. I think we knew that coming into this, right? Yeah. Like we knew going into it. So
all the cars.
Well, no, of course, and like, you know, we wrote this before, and it bears mentioning again. Like, there's not a single vehicle here. We've got 20 cars here. There's not a single one here that's not incredible, right? In its own right. To make it to be in our Star Wars test, you've got to score really highly on our rating system throughout the year. So we knew that Maverick was going to be part of it. But I think even like eyeballing it, you can see no other reason. The Hummer is $110,000, right? The Lightning that we have is 90-ish.
Not quite that much.
Okay.
I have to double check, but it's a Lariat, so it's not.
It's in the 80, almost pushing 90 range. The Toyota is 60. They're pretty well stacked,
They're
actually.
all above 60,
and then
70.
well under 30.
There's like 26.
Yeah, exactly. Well under 30 for the Maverick. So Clark, first of all, Gary. Great to see you again. We know we can count on you whenever we live stream. Gary Clark says, guys, is the Maverick the lightweight that is above its class for value? And then hashtag king of economy, hashtag 3D print, and then parody? I don't know what that means, but maybe I'm missing.
It's Elon Musk. You have to mark everything as parody.
Gotcha.
There are no tests here, you'll note.
No, I mean, for sure it punches above its weight, right? I mean, I think that's, again, like it wouldn't have, if it punched in its weight class, it probably wouldn't be sitting out in the driveway right now, right? Because it would be a cheap truck that we, enjoyed because it was cheap, but for no other reason. Like, I think it's a super compelling vehicle for a lot of different people.
Yeah, it's really the truck here that appeals to the broadest swath of buying public. I mean, even traditional truck customers are like, actually, this is kind of perfect for me. I don't need truck stuff every once in a while. Yeah. And then people that are, if you look at what Ford said, like they're getting a lot of first-time truck buyers with Maverick. So it really, I think I'd be willing to bet that it has among the widest appeal of anything we have here to the general buying public when you take into account just how versatile it is, just how economical it is, just how affordable it is, just how cool it is.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, I mean, we're talking about it in the truck class, right? Of the 3 other trucks that we tested that are crazy expensive, they're more powerful, they're more features, but it's also a value play, and we have it in the value category later on this week. I mean, you could go from a Nissan Sentra to a Ford Maverick, right? Like, if you want just an affordable, an affordable vehicle that has space, that can carry things, like it's not just a truck for truck people. Like Brandon said, a lot of Ford's getting a new truck buyers. Like, you can go from an economy car to this, and it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's bridging the gap for a lot of people. And I look at it, most people, sometimes it's hard to think of a truck. You're like, do I need a truck, or do I actually, need something else?
Yeah.
The same criteria could apply for SUVs too, right? Like, so like almost everybody drives an SUV these days. Most people don't use like the off-roading ability or all the cargo space and stuff that you're buying when you're getting an SUV, but they still want to have it because they like that flexibility. I look at Maverick the same way. Now, I have a little bit more of an issue with an open bed vehicle in general, because I do think you don't have as much like overall 360 utility with that, but that's a different story. So I think it can be, it's less of a compromise versus like Brett Evans isn't here today. He'll be on one of these podcasts later. He was talking about like recommending friends who have been in like Civics and something in Maverick because it's relatively the same price, amazing fuel economy, nice to drive, good balance of like infotainment and things like that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I do think that they're going to find and have found like a really wide audience for it. But
could it be a sneaky editor's choice
absolutely
nominee?
It's absolutely.
Could it be in the running?
At this stage, everything could be editor's choice.
Yeah. So we're doing, just so you guys know too, and you'll see this when it comes out. But like we have like I said, 20 vehicles here. We are not limiting vehicles to competing in one class because I don't think that's how people shop for vehicles, right? So we're where it's applicable, where we've got a truck and a value play, they're going to compete for those awards as well. So Maverick is certainly up for that, and then everything's up for Editor's Choice, and that one will be really fun to talk about down the road.
For sure.
But so all right, we're talking about Maverick. We'll not go Ford. Let's talk about the Toyota a little bit, because in a strange way, the Tundra is almost the most conventional of everything that we've got.
It's very orange.
Yeah, it's very orange.
Really orange.
I think it's red. I think
it is red.
I think it might be the best.
It's like a orangish red, I guess.
It's sort of a red orange. I don't know. Like it splits the gap. My wife would say that I'm colorblind though, so maybe it's Jeff. Maybe it's Jeff.
No, it's so the spec that we have is super compelling, and I actually had a vehicle exactly configured like this a few weeks ago and was just blown away at it. It is the TRD Pro trim, so all the off-road goodies with the iForce Max powertrain, which is the, I want to say, twin turbocharged gas electric hybrid. It's just a masterpiece of a hybrid powertrain.
It's a great,
it's really great
powertrain.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some hate for this. It's better than the F-150's power hybrid.
I agree.
It's the powertrain integration is so well done. It sounds fantastic. Even this one kind of pipes in noise, but it's super well done. Incredibly compelling.
Yeah, I'll say this though. Actually, it's interesting you mentioned now because I hadn't really put it together. We've got a couple of hybrids here. We've got a few hybrids. Man, the hybrid, like you're talking about, the handoff between the powertrains is so much better today than it was 10 years ago for sure, and even 5 years ago. Like
2 years ago.
That's really been nailed. But yeah, I think the Toyota is, so it's really butch. It looks cool no matter what the color is. It's really with the Hummer, like one of the off-road ready vehicles, you know, probably the second or first, depending on what your trail is, like most off-road ready vehicle that we have. I love it. We were talking about, we were doing some of the social stuff today. And I was talking about it, like even inside the cabin with like the TRD hits, and it's got that big blocky Toyota thing across it. It just looks really cool.
The seats, the camo seats.
The seats are the whole thing. It just like reads really. It's tougher than the other trucks, right?
It's the entire thing is definitely like a mood.
Yeah,
but I will say I got into it after driving the Lightning, and I was like, this interior is just a little bit busy. I mean, there are a lot of buttons, there are a lot of knobs, but there are a lot of things that you can press and turn and whatnot.
I think so. When we talk about these trucks and we're voting on, you know, we're scoring these trucks, the infotainment in the Tundra is my favorite by far. That new infotainment system that Toyota has and Lexus has, it's perfect. Like I think I said this in Tundra first drive, but it's one of the few infotainment systems where I don't click over to Apple CarPlay. Like once I get in the car, like I can actually use this and just be happy with it, you know.
I think it's great. It's very attractive. It is very responsive. I don't like it. It's purely in terms of like using things like changing the radio station. Like there are a lot of things that are like, I just want a tuning knob. If it give me a tuning knob, I'm like this, I would be good with this. But it is very pretty. It's very, very pretty and very fast.
Really attractive, like incredibly responsive today when I was playing with it. And I guess like, I sort of went back and forth, but I had no problem like doing the, you know, we're obviously like we've got a lot of vehicles, so we're doing a lot of driving too. So some of the infotainment stuff is just like sitting there. So I don't have as much of a feel for how easy it is to like grab things like on the move. Probably worth going back in again, but I do think it's a really attractive system for sure.
Yeah.
So Gary Clark asked real quick, guys, and I think Gary, you mean the Tundra. He's asking if the grill to front fascia ratio is 16:1. Like
no, it's not Chevy.
It's big though.
It's big. There's a lot of grill. It's not American big, but it's pretty big.
I think Toyota, like part of the design strategy for this one, like we talk about how tough this truck looks, like with the camo and the Toyota word mark and that massive grill, like they definitely were inspired by some of the American trucks, I think.
And the really interesting thing is, and you know, I'm kind of getting a little off topic here, but like we're driving the TRD Pro. There is the capstone and there's the regular SR5. And like, there's a wide variety of trims, and they all really have their own visual identity to them. So if you don't like the violently orange color, with the blacked out grill and like the Toyota word mark, there are alternatives to that for you if you really want it.
Yeah.
So JDubs07 says that he's bougie, so the Sierras get his vote regardless of hybridization, and the Denali Ultimate looks great. The AT4X sounds very capable. Both are quite expensive though.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, I worked hard to get both GMC Sierra and Silverado reviewed by our editors and rated so that we could invite them here. I definitely wanted them here. We couldn't make the time to work out. That's really all there is to it. It's no one's fault. It's disappointing. I wish that we would have had one of the GM trucks here because after that facelift, they look fantastic.
Yeah. Although I'll say this, I mean, the GMCs are definitely nice, and the Denali's definitely feel like a step above in terms of being a luxury truck. But the Toyota's not that far off. Like it's so much better than what it was previously, and it feels not like a luxury truck, but it is a very premium interior. Like it feels really good.
In my view, this is just the TRD Pro. This is the kind of the rough and tumble one. This is not the capstone. This is not the flagship trim.
Yeah.
And the material quality is it's between Toyota and Lightning for like best interior in terms of like material quality and whatnot. It's
I don't know.
Like, Lightning is interesting. I don't know. I actually think that we had a long conversation about the Hummer seats, right? And the Hummer seats can be a little problematic, especially you've had a lot more seat time over a longer period of time.
Drive it 300 miles straight, you'll be like real tired of them.
But I would say like when like the eyeball of it, right? Like just opening it up and like what looks attractive, like is the design good? I think the Hummer is actually like really nails it. And we can talk about that too. Like I think it's very over the top everywhere, but that's also kind of what they're going for. So I'm okay with it too. But in terms of like the overall interior design, that would be an interesting sort of separate question too. Like which interior is the best overall. By the way, I wanted to ask this at the top, but I didn't. So I'm going to throw it out now because we've got a few people watching right now. Thank you all again. Keep asking questions and leaving comments. I've got to catch up a little bit, but I want to say this, like, I want you guys who are watching, even if you're seeing this after it's recorded, leave us a comment and let us know what you think. So we're talking about the Hummer EV, we've got the Tundra D Pro, we've got the Ford Maverick, and we've got the Ford F-150 Lightning. In your mind, based on what you've seen, what is the truck of the year? Of those four, which one would you pick? We'd love to, not that we're going to incorporate necessarily your feedback into our decision, but we would love to know what our readers and viewers think of this segment too.
You can also comment after, we decide and tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to that.
Jeff is wrong a lot. So
JT Dubs also said that the Sequoia writes the Tundra grill wrong. I don't know. I'd have to see.
I agree with that.
I thought it was the same thing.
I think the Sequoia is pretty good looking. Yeah,
I think
I'm really looking forward to driving the Sequoia.
I think it's the shape of the Sequoia. I mean, it's kind of like the BMW M3, M4 conversation. Like, to me, the M4 doesn't work. The grille looks awful with the coupe body style, but it looks better with the four-door.
You just need more square footage overall to absorb impact.
Yeah, that's just me. But the Sequoia, I don't know, works a little better.
All right, and then from Gary, we've got, I think it's fair to summarize the Toyota hybrid as taking the edge off the gas consumption, but not an economy play.
It's not an economy.
I think it's more it's an overall, I mean, it's a power play, right?
In my view, like we've been driving the thing on twisty roads, but I want to say like the computer indicated fuel economy was like 12.5 miles per gallon.
Right. Yeah.
So
we're driving very aggressively. It's not.
That's not a combination of what Toyota's doing, but it's definitely it's the exact same approach as the F-150 Power Boost, where it is there. Yes, there is an improvement in fuel economy, but that is not the be-all, end-all. You're there because you want the electric power to make towing easier, make getting off the line easier. Mm-hmm. It's all about that.
It's torque fill.
Any fuel economy gains is just an added benefit.
Yeah, compared to the previous Gen V8, there's so much more low-end torque. There's better mid-range torque. It's just a much better powertrain compared to what they had.
Yeah, I think it gives you better power across the range.
Right.
Mm-hmm. To your point, like you're off-roading or towing, if that's what you're doing, and if you're driving it very reasonably, you're going to get better economy. Maverick, on the other hand, I think cheats the other way, right? Like Maverick
is absolutely an economy.
Yeah, Maverick has amazing fuel economy.
That's because it's not to get like all product planner, but like it's a really interesting handoff where it's like Maverick has EcoBoost. If you really want the power, that's the only way to get all-wheel drive. Mm-hmm. And the hybrid is very clearly positioned as like, this is the more affordable option. It's more economical. Whereas Toyota is completely the opposite, where it's like, we have a base engine that is just gas and very good. But if you really want maximum power, you have to get the hybrid.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing that more and more, right? Like we've got a Kia Sportage hybrid that we're going to talk about later on in the week. That is the same sort of thing. Honda's got CRV hybrid now too, which is again sort of like splitting the difference a little bit between economy and adding sort of more power to. So we're just in a different era, right? Like Prius kind of launches it into the hybrid era, and we think one way about it, but we're going to have to be flexible about how we think about hybrids going.
We'll say, apropos of nothing, we have no plug-in hybrids here.
No,
we have no plug-in hybrids, and we only have one V8. Is that right, or am I missing something?
We have one V8. We have exactly one V8.
Wow,
that's crazy.
6.2 liters and a supercharger. So stay tuned. 2022.
What a time to be alive.
It's only like the fourth most powerful vehicle here. That's the amazing part.
Barry F again. What will Toyota's Hummer/Raptor R TRX equivalent be? They have been salivating over selling out pre-orders of the 100K plus truck.
I think there's rumors that they're going to build a more powerful TRD Pro, something like a Raptor R, but I don't think that's confirmed.
I think it's confirmed. I think
it would be cool.
It'd be super cool.
Yeah. Yes, if you're listening to this in Plano, Texas right now, you should.
Our friends at Toyota, if you want to drop us a hint, tips@motor1.com. We would love to have the lead on that story. I don't know. It's really interesting. Like I just drove Raptor R. You guys have driven TRX, right? Like that. You're right. Like that is a. I don't know if I'd call it a booming segment. It's an incredibly profitable segment and one that people are really, really interested in. I think that anybody who builds a truck who wants to compete in that, like, what is it? What do we call it? Like a super truck, a 700 plus horsepower class.
High performance off-road.
Yeah. Very ultra high performance.
Baja truck.
They're incredible, right? I don't know.
Someone say unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't like. Does that? I don't know if that feels like Toyota to me. Like I know Toyota does performance, but they tend to not do.
I want like an Ironman Stewart, like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
give me like an Ironman, like 700 horsepower.
They are doing a lot of. They are doing a lot of like accessory stuff with the overlanding and the off.
Right.
So they're definitely doing more, and I think this TRO is like really pushing. The limits of, especially compared to last year's model, which was good, but like it's way different than this.
I mean, the big thing is like, does Toyota have the motor to put in it? Like Ford and Dodge Ford and Ram have that engine.
Bring back that Lexus, the 5 liter. Yeah, shove it in there.
Oh man, there you go.
So I want to talk about the Lightning because
we're getting off the rails a little bit.
Up until today, I've been the only one on the Motor One team that's driven Lightning, and I've been very eager, and same with Hummer for that matter. I've been very eager to hear what you guys thought of it.
Yeah,
I drove Lightning.
I got you on one.
That's right.
Okay.
Recently, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
but it was great to drive it again. I mean, I love that truck. Like it's, we talk about it, on social a little bit, but like you get in and it's an F-150 and you like put it in drive and everything feels normal and then it has a battery.
Yeah, so this was my first time driving Lightning, and I'll say like, as a lead, obviously like I've read and read the reviews that we've done, watched a lot of the video that we've done. The last thing that I checked out about it was Tom Logney on Inside EVs did a piece with Lightning, Hummer EV, and right? And he's talking about, and we had talked about this before, like he's talking about F-150 being just like having that magic carpet ride, right? Like having that like ride handling sort of suite that you don't expect from a pickup truck, and you certainly don't expect from something that weighs that much. And that was in my head, but really again, and I can't emphasize this enough, like we are out, we're out in canyon country, right? We're driving, we have some straight shots, but for the most part, we're driving like kind of aggressive, like handling roads. And of course, like it's heavy and it's not going to like go around, it's not going to carve canyons like a sports car, but man, the ride quality is incredible in it.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. The NVH is amongst the very best of vehicles that we have out here for sure. And it does all that without sacrificing the fact that, like, to your point, it feels just like a pickup truck when you're in it. It doesn't feel like you're stepping into another universe, right?
I will say I did our drive loop. It's about half hour, 45 minutes. I did it in the truck, and then I came back and I immediately got into the F-150. And as soon as I pull out onto the main road, it was just like, oh my God, I'm so comfortable. Like it was just a sense of relaxation set over me.
Yeah.
And just because the ride is so composed and it is so quiet, and It is so smooth in every way.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very pleasant
The
vehicle.
Tundra was kind of the sketchiest of the four on the really twisty parts.
Yeah.
Like it definitely felt the most truck-like of the four, where you're like, ugh, like side to side, and like don't want to roll it over a cliff. But the Lightning felt really composed, like, and it's the same size as an F-150, and it's as heavy or maybe heavier,
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like it. It just feels like so nice and agile and comfortable. And
well, I mean, it's really impressive. Like I anyone that is like wants to understand how good the Lightning really is in terms of handling, just needs to drive it back to back with like a regular F-150, because you'll truly appreciate what having all that weight down low does to the way that it behaves, what having all like the extra structure like to support and protect the battery does to the rigidity and whatnot. Like it is so smooth and so composed over a variety of surfaces. I mean, it's really, really well done.
What's amazing to me is because, like, make no mistake, like you put the throttle down in that truck and it goes too. It is really quick. But all of the conversation today about Lightning has really been about ride quality and refinement, right? Which is pretty impressive. So again, like this is the thing that I'm still trying to get my head around a little bit, is it looks and sort of acts like a normal truck, but it does a lot of things like a super high-end luxury car, right? And you pay for it. Don't get me wrong. Like,
we're just driving the Lariat. There's a trim above this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I adore it. I think it's really great. The one that we have as Blue Cruise, which I have not gotten the chance to play with this week.
Yeah, it's a little hard out here to get it. Like you can turn it on a bit here. That's one failing of where we're at, is it's slightly harder to do the highway stuff. I guess the counterpoint today, many of these vehicles we've driven back at home and we've gotten like plenty of highway time and all that. So, but yeah, Blue Cruise is really impressive technology. Overall, I just think like the Lightning maybe is a little, and I think this is part of the attractiveness to many people's buyers. It doesn't, like, when you walk up to it or see it, it doesn't scream like this is an electric for a new vehicle, right? It doesn't have that like Hummer EV is one that what we were talking to a guy today who didn't know what it was, but he knew it was something, right? When you see like the Rivian that's here, you don't necessarily know what it is, know it's something. The Lightning you're not sure about, but it's nevertheless very special.
You talk about that, and like Jeff witnessed this yesterday when I pulled into and this is the same.
I witnessed a lot of things in the Walmart parking lot.
last year when we did Star Wars, I pulled in a lime green Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo into a Walmart parking lot to recharge and Electrify America station, and it was definitely an experience. It was just as wild pulling in a Hummer EV yesterday.
Oh yeah.
First of all, it looked like a monster among all the other cars.
I aged 5 years driving through that parking lot.
Oh my God, yeah. You've got to have your cheat sheet handy about like all of the detailed specs of the vehicle.
Everybody wanted to ask about it. Everybody wanted to ask about it.
So we've got a couple from Gary Clark. Gary, thanks again for all the comments. So Gary Clark said, is the Hummer EV a pickup or a spare tire hauler? Seriously, lost tow and payload capacity being full itself. Yeah, it's not like Hummer EV. All right, so Hummer EV obviously is competing in the truck category. It's going to be competing in the EV category as well. And then obviously, like everything else, it's competing for editor's choice. As a pickup truck, I will say this, like the bed technology is great in Hummer EV. You can fold down it's got the pass through, so you can get actually like large objects like into the cabin as well, right?
I don't think that's pass through.
Oh, it doesn't?
I think you can lower the rear window, but I don't think
I'm confused. You know what I'm
thinking? Of Avalanche.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Silverado EV. That's right. That's right.
I kind of, after driving it, I have kind of a bold take. I think it was a mistake for GMC to launch Hummer EV as a pickup truck and not as an SUV first.
Why?
I think the SUV is going to be far more compelling.
I think it looks a lot better.
I think it looks a lot better. It's more traditional with the Hummer.
Yeah. The truck, to me, I mean, this is my first time driving it, and this is really my first time seeing it in person. It is very stupid, but like in a good way. Like You're paying $100
Jeff
grand.
may be tipping his hand a little
Well,
bit.
no,
No. I get it. Yeah.
You know, Jeff is a very like low-key composed guy. He doesn't often make strong statements.
But like even in the Walmart parking lot, we're like, everyone, normal car. We pull up to Electrify America. You got a Bolt, you have an Ionic, and then Brandon pulls up in this Hummer, and it's like the C's part of like humans and cars, and they're like this monstrosity, 10,000-pound monstrosity rolling down the center of the thing. It's like, all right, why do you need this? But then you drive it, and it's like, okay, this is pretty cool.
It's a miracle I didn't run it over.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Hummer is exactly as stupid and crazy as it needs to be. Like, and I say that with the absolute.
That's its DNA.
It is. Its DNA.
It would be.
It is so true to the Hummer mission. Like that has been going on since Schwarzenegger like convinced AM General to sell one.
100%.
It is unequivocally, unquestionably, like unflinchingly a Hummer.
Listen, you guys. I laughed so hard. I sent a text. I don't think anybody got it till later, but like because I had totally forgotten. It's been raining all day long, right? So we've been sort of dealing with that. I got in the Hummer, completely forgetting that it had 3 windshield wipers, and I literally laughed out loud so hard. But it's a microcosm for the vehicle, right? It's like it's both. Yes, it's very functional. Like you could make the argument that with this gun slit window, that you need to have 3 small windshield wipers because you can't have 2 bigger ones. So it gets the water away. It's also completely ridiculous. Like it's absolutely insane, right?
What is the last vehicle to have 3 windshield wipers? Last production vehicle.
I have no idea.
Oh,
was it a Volkswagen? Nope. No.
You're gonna kick yourself when I tell you.
I don't know that I
feel
know.
like it's on the
honestly.
top of my tongue, but I don't know. Like
Toyota FJ Cruiser.
Not a okay,
Cruiser.
right.
I wouldn't have guessed.
I didn't even remember
obscure
that.
fact for
Honestly,
the
yeah. my head is that information in my brain has been pushed out by other ridiculous information in my brain.
It's
like
true when you get in the Hummer, it's like you get in the F-150, it feels like a truck. You get in the other 2, they feel like trucks. You get in the Hummer, it's like you're in a spaceship
100%
with crazy flat like windshield, the biggest hood line you've ever seen, like 3 windshield wipers.
Like the hood is so wide and flat, it makes like a Bronco seem like evocative.
The infotainment, like you said, we didn't spend a ton of time with the infotainment, but just the graphics, it looks like something out of like a Transformers movie, like they'd use on the fake
like
military.
Call of Duty or something.
Yeah, like
right?
Call of Duty,
it's
like
Unreal Engine. Like, it's an Unreal gaming engine.
It's crazy.
The infotainment is fantastic to look at. The interior is just strange. I mean, you can set the seating position so low. Like I'm 6'2", and like I can't set it all the way down, otherwise I can barely see over the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's not a ton of space in the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The back seats are not super huge. The bed is not very deep. It's kind of just an odd vehicle. It's compromised in a lot of ways, but like it goes back to like being a Hummer.
Yeah.
And its entire point is to be a Hummer.
Yeah.
Not to be a great pickup truck, not to be a great SUV or a people hauler, is to be cool.
And listen, we talked about this a little bit. I don't know if we've written this yet, but like if not, we should when we
don't tweet your blogs.
No, I know. No, when we talk about the winners and stuff, but listen, we are 4 editors driving cars. We have a lot of cars to get through. Like we talk a lot, like we have some amazing competitors out there who do of the year awards with like everything, and they're able to do like break it. And that's absolutely where we want to go, right? Long way of saying, like, we know that we could do a lot more, and we could do an entire week of testing just with trucks, right? And if we did that, something like Hummer EV would have proper off-road testing, where right now it's kind of theoretical for us. So we're like definitely cheating towards on-road stuff a little bit, for better or for worse. Like that is what it is. If we were talking about off-road, Hummer would be in a stratosphere by itself with the ability that it has.
I would say that
losing my mic.
In my view, I'm the only one here that is off-roaded in Hummer EV. I would say it is probably the most capable, like rock crawling SUV you can buy from the factory today.
Yeah,
it's not.
Like,
it doesn't feel too heavy. Like it's not.
No, it would put. I mean, its biggest liability is its sheer size.
Yeah.
But you've got this
Lesser rocks are crushed under it.
Well,
Yeah.
but you've also got
It doesn't
you've got
climb
this-
mountains; it
Right.
just goes straight through
You've
them.
also got this brilliant 4-wheel steering system on it, too,
Yeah.
Right.
that kind of like shrinks the size of it. It's super compelling. I would genuinely love to do a wild like off-road SUV comparison with like Bronco Badlands Sasquatch and Wrangler Rubicon and Hummer EV and G-Wagon and Defender and like,
Right.
it'd be a riot.
Well, one of the things we really were playing with a lot is the just the turning radius itself, right? Because the rear wheels are so
yeah.
like
Mhm.
the rear wheel steering makes it so like it's crazy because then the Lightning turning radius is really bad, and then you get in that thing, which is huge.
The Hummer's turning circle is smaller than the Mavericks.
Yeah,
Like, and
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
so.
and then the
Jeff was getting tired of me yesterday. I was just busting U-turns every chance I could.
yeah. But then
it was getting a little.
But then the
bad.
crab walk thing, we tried it today, and it's so weird. Like you don't think a car can move that way, like that sideways, laterally. It's
Yeah,
strange.
and the funny thing
Yeah.
about crab walk is you only really need it if you do something very, very wrong. When
Right.
you're up.
yeah.
Like you took the very bad line and you can't back out of it. I guess I got a crab walk.
You know,
No, it's hard to wrap your mind around like how to use it because because usually you don't need that kind of lateral
Right.
mobility, right? So but no, overall, I mean, listen, Hummer is incredibly impressive. It's just like you said, it is a spaceship. Like it is not, it's nothing like anything else that's out there right now at all, really. I mean, I suppose when the other, when Silverado EV and stuff like that comes out, they'll have some more contemporaries, but like GM is in its own space right now with those vehicles because of the overall size, the battery capacity, like the output.
The battery capacity, and I do want to talk about this. So mind you, we didn't do anything like super accurate, like super detailed range testing or anything like
Right.
that. It is
Although we have done that quick, like you can find
inside
70
EVs.
mile per hour range test of the Hummer EV. Tom Logney had I believe, not the first, but actually we might have had the first 70 mile per hour range test on a Hummer EV. Performed exceptionally well, beat its EPA rating. So you guys can check all of that out again if you're watching this now or later. But sorry, carry on.
Going to fly completely against what I'm about to say.
Sorry.
It is hilariously inefficient.
Yeah, for the size.
For the size,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about it has twice as much battery as any other EV here, and consistently. And mind you, I've road tripped the thing. I've done 600 miles like there and back in the thing. I've never seen more than 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is just abysmal.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's terrible.
So much of that, I mean, like, and like, where you're driving, like driving style and all that comes into play for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that you can say just on the physics of the thing, it needs to have a battery pack that big to get the range figures and the power that it needs to have.
Oh yeah.
For the weight, right?
There's so much. I mean, there's something uniquely American about like, you know what, this car has great range because we stuck a big ass battery in it.
Right.
It's the exact same thing as like a Canyon Aero with like a 42-gallon gas tank.
Yeah.
Like
it's there's no replacement for displacement equivalent to EVs,
right? Yes.
Right?
This
Like
one goes to 11.
right. No, and I don't think listen, I think that it's really impressive where you get into EVs that are engineered with efficiency in mind, both in terms of like overall like weight of the vehicle, but also the thermal efficiencies and things like that are happening with the batteries. I think Lucid has got some really interesting things to say about like what's happening.
It is cool like that finesse versus just like let's just throw all the kilowatt hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I do appreciate it. I don't like it. I do appreciate it though.
Gary Clark says Hummer is a look getter more than any EV without question. I think that's pretty close. I mean, you guys had the Taycan, like I know that. Well, it was also in a spectacular color. I guess.
Listen, if you want to find out, drive your EV to Walmart. If you get a great reaction at Walmart, then
yeah. So as you guys can see, I mean, we we have a lot to deal with, right? Like trying to figure out which one of these is the best truck overall is like a challenge in and of itself. It sure is fun to do. Like again, like I don't know about you guys, like it's been a really long day. We started early. We're gonna start early again tomorrow. But it's been a lot of fun going through trucks. We can talk about quickly because I know that we're not going to get to it entirely, but we also got through some of the EVs today. Some of the SUVs today. So if you guys are around and like I said, we're going to be doing this more. We're going to be talking about SUVs. We're going to be talking about luxury vehicles a little bit more tomorrow. the two biggest segments that we have by far. Like we're going through a lot of those. So
yeah, it's gonna be a long podcast tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. To try and get
Kyle's gonna have to like crack the whip and like make sure that we don't go off on diet about things.
We'll need more cheat cards for sure. But like it was an awesome way to start, like talking about the trucks, both start the day and start the podcast. I don't know. Any final thoughts? We can't really make predictions because we're the one doing the votes. But yeah, anything we left on the table with any of the trucks that we drove today, or
any trucks that we maybe wish could have been here?
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
I am deeply disappointed that we couldn't get either the Chevy or the GMC here. I really wish that it wasn't for lack of trying. It's just the trucks weren't available. They just Chevy is selling consumers first, which I completely respect. And so I wish they could have been here. I would have loved to have ZR2 or AT4X here.
Yeah,
I think it would have been really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So sorry, remind me, was Santa Fe eligible? Santa Fe was last year.
Santa Fe was eligible,
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz was eligible. It didn't score quite high enough.
Yeah,
but I would have liked to have had it here.
Santa
it was also very expensive. Like, I mean, the Santa Cruzes that we were testing were like $42,000.
Yeah,
Santa Cruz was interesting. I mean, it felt more like a crossover with a bed than the Maverick
100%,
does.
yeah.
Right. Like the Maverick definitely feels like a shrunken down truck, and it was expensive. So, yeah.
I think if I had to pick just having one of those two, obviously, like I would go with Maverick for sure. But Santa Cruz was I think it's a really interesting vehicle. It's really fun to drive. Like I drove it quite a while ago and remember being just kind of shocked that it was as entertaining as it was. So another really compelling one. I mean, there are a lot of great trucks.
I mean, I think Frontier was a good one too. Good option. Like
Frontier was on the list and didn't rate quite highly enough.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I guess a midsizer compact. I don't know.
It's a midsizer. It's a rated competitor.
But it wasn't really like, it's not like special, you know?
Yeah, it's a competent upgrade. But yeah, it doesn't really, reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, that segment's a little aging in general. And
sure, like every Tacoma I've ever been in, I've loved.
Right.
But but it's not doing any. It hasn't done anything brand new in 20 years. You know what I mean?
I think it'll be interesting next year because presumably we'll have the new Ranger next year.
Yeah.
Or Ranger Raptor even.
Yeah.
Please.
Which will be super exciting.
Yeah.
So and then next year we'll have Avalanche.
Raptor R.
Raptor R. So there's
Yeah.
Next year is going to be next year in general. I've been thinking about this.
Could be a lot of amazing trucks next year for sure.
I mean, just full stop.
Cybertruck.
Fingers crossed. Cybertruck.
Cybertruck. Yeah.
Tesla, man, what would have to change? So Tesla has to build the Cybertruck, and they have to let us borrow one. Or somebody out there in on the internet, if you have a Cybertruck.
Elon is very busy banning Canadians.
Right? We might get banned on Twitter right now.
We're not gonna hit Elon too hard on this, but yes. We would love to have a Cybertruck next year. Should it be eligible and available?
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, let's wrap up. Thanks everybody again for tuning in. And let me just reiterate: if you are watching this after the fact, if you see it recorded, leave us a comment, leave us a question. We'll get back to you. Let us know which of the trucks that we drove today and this week you think are the most worthy of being our truck of the year. And if you're around throughout the rest of the week, 8 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to be here or in our studio location if it's not drenched in water.
We're going to try.
And we can get Wi-Fi. Some cars behind us. But yeah, thanks for joining us and keep watching along for more Star Wars fun. Thanks, you guys.
Stay tuned.
Bye all.
Bye, everybody.